Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Yasha if you're new here. If you saw my last video, you saw that, oh bless you. You saw that my video got a little bit cut off because I started rambling at the end, and I realized that everything I was talking about in the second half of that video, I could basically turn into its own video. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I was originally just going to, use that second half, but I figured, let me just re-record it and make it better. So today we're going to be talking about basically how many programs you should apply to and what your program strategy should be in deciding where you want to apply. So basically, when it comes to deciding where you want to apply to, the issue is money, right? Because the more programs you apply to, the more expensive it's going to be. Apologies in advance, my baby is right next to me. Hi, cutie. The issue is it's going to become more expensive, and the general advice you're going to hear from a lot of people that have successfully matched is basically you should apply to as many programs as you can afford, because the amount of money that you spend now is going to be minuscule when compared to like how much money you could potentially not make if you don't match. And I know that's kind of a silly comparison, and it's $1,000 versus a year of salary, but at the end of the day, you do have to think about what sacrifice you're willing to make. At the end of the day, it's not just about money, but also, bless you, it's also about that what if feeling. Like, what if I just applied to more programs and I matched? It's just like, do you really want to have that? So I think you should apply to as many programs as you can, as many as you can afford. So there are 192-ish radiology programs, DR only. So if you apply IR and DR, you're gonna have to apply to even more programs. But if I were giving advice today, if I were to apply today, I would probably apply to about 100 programs. Now, that sounds like a lot. That's about half the programs that exist. And you have to decide, like, what's your threshold. I know a lot of people will say 50 is a good number right now. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have 16 interviews, because that's really where the average applicant was last year, was right around 16 interviews. And actually, it might have even been more interviews, but 16 ranks were really the number of ranks that most applicants had. So maybe you went on a bunch of 20 interviews, and then maybe 4 programs you were just like, I absolutely don't want to match there, which, that's a different story. I totally recommend that you rank every program that you interview at, unless there is like some scenario in your mind where you would rather not match than match that program. That's the only time I would say don't put them on your rank list. You want to have 16 programs on your rank list at the end of the season. So it's up to you to decide like what you think your yield will be. There's no way to know what your yield will be. There are people that have gotten interviews at top 10 programs that I would never have guessed, and vice versa, right? Really, really strong applicants went unmatched. So you have to kind of look at your own application and decide how strong you are and what kind of number of programs you're willing, what you want to do at the end of the day. I really think that for me, or I would over apply, honestly. And I know maybe that's kind of unpopular to think about, but you have to look out for yourself, and every person is going to be over applying, and every program is also interviewing more than they used to as well. So just think about yourself at the end of the day. Think about what it is that you want to do, and make sure that you are putting yourself in the best position possible to match. So for me, I would say over apply and make sure that you are giving yourself the best chance at matching at the end of the day. Alright, so when it comes to application strategy, like where you should actually apply, you have to decide what it is that you're looking for in a program. Are you looking for a research-focused program? Are you looking for a tight-knit community? Is it more geographical for you? You have to make those decisions. So I would apply in kind of thirds. So the first third would be reach programs, and like reach to semi-reach programs, really strong programs that you think that maybe you could get into, but maybe would be a reach, with a couple of those, only a couple of those being like actual complete reach programs that you would maybe not be strong enough for. And even if you are a super strong competitive applicant, maybe it would be a very elite program that only like the cream of the crop applicants will get to go there, even if you are like a super competitive applicant. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we know which programs I'm talking about, the top 5, the top 10s. Only a few of your programs should be those, because you don't want to put too many eggs into those baskets, because those eggs are going to be in so many people's baskets that you will not have as good of a chance of matching there, even if you are very strong as an applicant. So make a few of your programs those types of programs, but make sure you're being realistic with yourself. And if you are an amazingly competitive applicant, then maybe you can afford to put more of those on your list. But I would say that you should definitely be safe, definitely go for some of those big programs, but be realistic with yourself and make sure you're not making too many of those types of choices. And so your top 1/3 should just be like, you know, strong programs that you have at least somewhat of a chance of matching at. The middle 1/3 programs should be programs that you have a very good chance of matching at. You really want to make sure that like you have a solid number of very safe programs that you can go to, so that are still strong. And now this will again depend on your application. If you are very competitive, then maybe these can be like upper to mid, and if you are maybe not as competitive, then maybe these should be more programs that are like mid to lower tier. Again, it doesn't matter at the end of the day like where you match, you're still gonna get great training, but I do think that you need to like be honest with yourself, realistic, and use some strategy when applying. So that's what I would suggest for the middle 1/3. And then I think the last third of your programs should be like very safe programs that you know that you would have a very good chance of matching at. That way you have enough padding in your rank list that you're not going to fall all the way down to like 15, 16 program, or even like maybe go unmatched, but you have a good chance of matching at. And this idea that like all small community programs are like programs you don't want to be at, it's like totally not true. You can really apply to a good amount of community and lower tier academic programs that are still really good and going to give you solid foundational training that maybe not everyone would want to go to. And I think if you use that type of strategy, like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, or even like maybe 1/4, and then half of your programs are more in that middle tier, and then 1/4 would be maybe lower community, that would be fine too. But I think the whole point is you really want to have a wide variety of programs, some that are safe, some that are definite reaches, and some that are definite safeties. Because I think that you just want to set yourself up for success. Like at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. I don't want to see some amazing candidates go unmatched. And maybe that total number for you isn't 100. Maybe it's just 50. Maybe it's just 50, and maybe, you know, it's even 30. Okay, if you're only applying to 30 programs, I think you should really reconsider. But maybe you have to apply to every program. Maybe you're just not, you know, you're a DO or an IMG and you want to take no chances. That's totally up to you, but I think spreading out your applications over a wide variety of competitiveness and cities and geographical regions also will be very, very smart and will be really the best way to ensure that you match. If you're hearing any sounds in the background, it's just my little guy who's sitting right next to me. Yeah. But you know, these videos have to get done somehow, so we're making it work today. But in any case, I hope that that was helpful. Let's see, do I have anything else to say? I think that's really all I have to say about it. Make sure that you set yourself up for success. Apply to as many programs as you think you need to. And if it's something below like 40 programs, I would say definitely reconsider. You'll be surprised with which interviews you do get and which interviews you don't get also. So just keep that in mind as you build your application. And oh yeah, there is actually one more thing I wanted to add, which is make sure you apply on day one. Don't think that, okay, if I don't get any interviews in the first week, I'll apply to more. No, I would just apply to as many programs as possible on day one. Like, do not save any for later. If you think that you're going to want to apply to a certain program, apply on day one. Just apply on day one, because the chances that you're going to get an interview get smaller and smaller the later and later that you apply to a program. So that's my last piece of advice that if you watched this far into the video, you got. Thanks for watching, and I should probably figure out what is on this guy's mind. So I will see you all in the next one. Bye. You have a very good chance of matching at.